You're on mute if you're. Oh, there you go. Hey.
There you go. How's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
Good.
Did you get back from like a yoga?
No, just no.
Fair enough. I know that you did yoga the last time I spoke to you, so I'm like, oh, maybe you're a big yoga person.
Yeah. I I like yoga. I don't do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. I
Am I
like it.
echoing?
I'm sorry?
Am I echoing?
No, but ooh, okay, maybe. Let me see if I can change my computer. It might be me. Let's do
Oh,
this. I'll be right back. Let me see.
oh, okay.
Let me see. Could definitely be me. Okay.
Are you doing the class?
It'll be
Oh,
me.
cool. Right on.
Does the audio sound better now?
Oh yeah.
Okay, then it was definitely me. Okay, so yes,
I
I
was.
will be doing class today. Bradley had to be out to I think he was doing family obligation.
Yeah, fair enough. Sweet.
Yeah.
Did you
So
go to the Kirtan this Saturday?
no, unfortunately I didn't.
Yeah,
Um
I didn't get to go this last Saturday either. I missed it.
oh, yeah. Did you have anything specific or was it just not in the cards?
I woke up that morning and I had a little bit of a sore throat, and I just wasn't feeling like I just really felt like I needed a day of rest, and
Mhm.
it was just telling me to just like lay low. So I just went by
That's that's
that.
healthy. No, that's
Yeah.
good.
I also didn't want to, give everybody a sore throat. Plus, I just felt like more like I just needed to kind of chill. So,
Yeah, no, it's good. Taking care of ourselves. Although, it seems simple when we're saying it, putting that into practice is not the easiest thing sometimes.
oh man, no joke, especially in our society.
Yeah. They make it seem like it's selfish almost, right? It's
Right.
crazy.
Really, truly. I mean, I've reading so many books right now and just like about true rest, and
Yep.
how rest is like to really revive yourself and your spirit. And I mean, it's hard to even be able to find true rest in this society. I mean, it's rare.
Hmm.
So,
We're always engaged in something, and
yeah.
when to when to stop is the question. Okay. So very, very happy I'm glad that you said something, otherwise the recording would be. So I don't know if anybody else is coming. I haven't been involved since Bradley's the main he's the main practitioner here. I tend to I have my own course, but since he's gone, we'll be missing him a lot, but I will do my best to, facilitate as good as he does. He has a lot more knowledge than me, so
I'm open to hearing it all. So,
yeah. Before we start, did you have any questions about any of the previous lessons, any realizations, um, anything before we start this new topic?
no,
And
yeah.
so, anytime that you do, let me know. So then I try to be as interactive as possible. Otherwise, it's just me talking to a screen. I'm like, all right. So I will share my screen. Actually, here we go. I'll start this one first. Let me know when you are able to see my screen and I can start.
Oh, I think it's coming. Yeah, I see it now.
Perfect. All right. So today's class will be the mind. Is it a friend or a foe? And so this is the fourth module for it's the fourth class for module one. It should be going off of harmonizing the body, mind, spirit through meditation, how participating and practicing meditation, you should be able to harmonize all of those things, body, mind, spirit, by
Mm.
giving you something to concentrate on and driving away other things that are more unfavorable to your connection with the divine. The pursuit of happiness. And so the pursuit of happiness really speaking on our nature, our real nature as soul, and our seeking happiness through all of the activities that we're doing. And what does pure happiness mean? How do you obtain that as everybody who's alive, whatever body you're in, seeks pleasure somehow, some way. So how do we
Yeah.
actually do that? Does true happiness really exist? Things like that.
Okay.
Then consciousness, the missing link. So
Hmm.
consciousness, who are we? Who am I? Am I the body or am I something beyond the body? Going internal or internalizing who we really are, we find that what makes us special from inanimate objects are consciousness. And then even furthermore, we have consciousness like animals and others and trees and everything like that. But our consciousness is special because our consciousness allows us to think, who am I? Why am I here? What should I do? How can I be happy? So our consciousness in this type of body is a very big gift, right?
Hmm.
So now we are on the mind. How is the mind a friend or a foe? Or is the mind a friend or a foe? So
Hmm.
let's start the video. I will make sure I'm sharing. Oops. There we go. All right.
The mind, a friend or a foe? As we progress into the 21st century, we see that science and technology has reached heights which couldn't have been imagined a few decades ago. The purpose of science is to either eliminate all miseries or at best reduce miseries, and thereby bring more and more happiness into the lives of common people. So, we should expect the most cherished qualities of love, peace, and fraternity amongst the citizens. However, the present-day scenario is just the opposite. If knowledge is power, it is worth considering why we are unable to control the world situation today. One need not blame the government, politicians, bureaucrats, police officials, judiciary, etc., for the problems that the world faces today. If we are internally disturbed, we will reflect it onto the outside world by creating disturbances for others. Hence, it is essential to evaluate the nature of our mind in order to understand the art of mind control. The biggest challenge today is dealing with an identity crisis. Who am I? If one can identify one's real identity, he can work towards achieving lasting happiness. The ancient Vedic wisdom suggests that we are not these bodies, but pure spiritual consciousness. The body which we see is actually dead matter. It appears to be alive because of the presence of the consciousness. When the consciousness leaves the body becomes inactive. The consciousness is a spiritual energy covered by the material energy consisting of gross elements and subtle elements. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the gross elements are earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the subtle elements are mind, intelligence, and false ego. The subtle element of false ego, or ahankara, causes the spiritual consciousness to identify with the material body. Intelligence is the decision maker and discriminates amongst the various options thrown by the mind. Mind is the center of all activities of the senses and is the reservoir of all ideas of sense enjoyment. It is a storehouse of thoughts, unfulfilled desires, and previous experiences. The simple functions of the mind are thinking, feeling, and willing. These functions sometimes manifest in the form of the accepting or rejecting of ideas by the mind, and sometimes in the form of the mind hankering for things we don't have or to lament our past. Our material body is like a chariot. It has 5 horses, the senses of hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell. Each of us is a spiritual consciousness riding within. We are the passenger. And to keep the horses on course, we have the reins, our mind, and the driver, our intelligence. As we've all experienced, our sensory horses are always ready to bolt off after this or that, and their pulling creates anxiety in our mind. The problem is that we have no permanent goal to keep our mind on. If empowered by spiritual knowledge, it has sufficient strength to control the mind. The senses composed of the gross elements are the direct link of the consciousness and the subtle body with the external world. The overall coordination of the whole conscious body arrangement can thus be fulfilled only if the senses are controlled. For example, when you are walking along the road and you see a pizza shop, first your eyes are attracted by the picture of the pizza. This information is passed on to the mind. The mind has 2 things: the previous experience of the taste of pizza and the input of seeing the pizza. The mind consults the intelligence, and the intelligence dictates to your hands and legs to go to the shop and purchase the pizza. In this way, coordination takes place between the senses, mind, and intelligence. How to control the mind. The nature of mind is like a jumping monkey jumping from one branch to another and is never stable. The mind is not satiated, no matter how many of its desires you try to fulfill. From stress to heart attack, from depression to suicide, from a petty quarrel to a bloody feud, the culprit behind all problems is the uncontrolled mind. An uncontrolled mind can completely ruin a person. However, there is hope. As the Bhagavad Gita says, a man must elevate himself by his own mind, not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So how can we control the mind? There are many physical, mental, and spiritual techniques. Physical methods include yoga exercises, pranayama, breathing exercises, diet, celibacy, fasting, etc. Mental techniques include forgiveness, detachment, techniques to develop concentration, patience, self-control over impulses, positive thinking, and change of mental attitudes. Spiritual techniques include mantra meditation, developing realized knowledge about the self, associating with spiritually minded people, and a spiritual diet. These spiritual techniques have been found to be all-inclusive, and simply by following the spiritual principles, the benefits of all the other methods, physical and mental, can be experienced. Sometimes, out of frustration, we try to quiet our mind by stopping our senses and engaging in silent meditation. This may bring us some relief, but it doesn't last, because sooner or later, our senses have to act. So the solution to permanently control and engage the mind is to find a goal that's permanent and fully satisfying to our senses, mind, and intelligence. Krishna recommends in the Bhagavad Gita, dedicate your activities to me, absorb your senses, mind, and intelligence in me, and you will attain me. Krishna's very name means the highest satisfaction. There is no peace and happiness in the accumulation of wealth or possessing bodily beauty or in display of strength. The real secret of happiness is in a controlled mind, which is gradually achieved with a spiritual way of life. It is very difficult to control the mind and senses without experiencing a higher taste of spiritual bliss. The spirit can experience such a higher taste by chanting the names of Supreme Consciousness in love. For the present age, the recommended process for developing a higher taste is to chant the Maha Mantra in association of spiritualists.
All right. Very, very interesting. There's a lot of
Yeah,
information. There's a lot of
there's a lot of
information.
information.
Um, any reflections before we start with the icebreaker?
Mm, no.
Ooh, no, go back. All right. So icebreaker. So what quality do you appreciate most in a person?
Hmm. Um, presence. Mm,
Presence? Nice.
yeah, just presence. Unjudgmental presence.
Hmm.
Clear, um, conscious presence. Yeah,
It's
awareness.
not, yeah, I feel like it's not common nowadays, for people to be present. Your mind's always somewhere, even if you're here, right? Your mind could be in so many places.
Yeah, and I think actually I notice that a lot of people it feels that some people are really scared of their own presence.
Mm,
And also, maybe it's a fear thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just intimidation. I don't really know, but sometimes it feels, some people are great with it. And then some people, I can, even like if you walk by people on the street, and some people, you can make eye contact and then they immediately like look the other way, or you feel an energy that reflects in that instead of just feeling clear, just like,
mhm.
so
Right.
I don't know.
It's a good quality to have, to be able to live presently. That's how you
Yeah.
get the gifts. And being, you said unjudgmental presence, which is, experiencing life, fully, I would say. That's not something that a lot of people can do. It's a really good quality to have.
Yeah. It's a continuous, I mean, it's a work of art, right? It's a continuous challenge in life. And I mean, everyone always on occasion gets stuck in their mind. It's just
Hmm. Hmm.
how it goes
Yeah,
sometimes, but it's the remembrance of always coming back to that place of as much as possible and reminding presence is where we can't be anywhere but present.
that's true. That takes a lot of introspection, I think, to understand that, you can't be anywhere but present. That's 100% true. But people lose it because they're either trying to go into the future or trying to, escape the past. And so it might seem like that, which is very interesting, because that's a mind thing. Your mind does that.
Right.
It keeps you in the past, or it will make you worry about the future until it robs you of your experiences that you could potentially have.
Totally. Even
Hmm.
judgments or, past interactions that, or maybe in a place years ago where you weren't as evolved to understand that or whatever, and you still at times maybe have reflections or it's still a process, but in reality,
Yeah.
it is, you're just here now.
mean, you don't really, you don't realize it till, way later and you're like, oh, what have I done? So
Yeah.
that's a good quality. A lot of people, I don't know how many people a lot of people can't do it. So, I mean, I see it. So I think for me, a
Yeah.
quality that I like, pretty simple. I think, genuineness, like somebody being genuine. I really appreciate that quality a lot. It's a lot
Yeah.
simpler to make friends with them, or it's a lot simpler to understand them because there's no duplicitous, there's no duplicity. So, what they say, they mean. So I really appreciate that quality in the person.
Yeah. Like just being truthful and just genuine, just realist.
Yeah, like simple, like you say who you are, who you say you are.
Yeah, I agree. Great quote. Yes. 100%.
And so I really appreciate that in people. And there's always, there's the grand scheme of genuineness, like where it's like the whole person is everything. But then there's also like some people are genuine in what they do sometimes, right? So, if they have a passion, then you can tell that they've done their true best. Or if they do like a piece of art that you can feel, how they were feeling, or they're being really genuine with how they were feeling. So there's so many ways that you can see people being genuine, but when you have that as yourself in general, it's just really refreshing to me.
Yeah. It's like a pureness, kind of like just a pureness of them. Yeah, I hear it. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. Great.
So the interesting piece about these qualities are that everybody has different qualities about themselves. Some qualities we see, some qualities we don't see, some qualities we know, some qualities we don't know. Other people can see with us. But all of those things bring us to what that video was talking about, which was consciousness. And so with consciousness, those qualities are more obvious with people.
Yeah.
And so that's when all the you know, the agreements, the disagreements, the strives of happiness, that's where all those things kind of mix together and you get a kerfuffle of of people, many different
Mhm.
personalities.
Yeah, so true.
Mhm.
I
So
remember
these two, yeah.
yeah, that one night. Were you there? They put that on the screen. I think you were there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
The chariot, right? So when you
Yeah.
see this picture, what do you feel? It's wild, right?
Well, it's a really funny feeling or reflection that I get because it reminds me of like when I used to shop at thrift stores all the time. And it would remind me of like something I would find and be like, wow, this is so cool. I have to get it.
That's perfect though. It's true. That's exactly what happens. That's true. 100%. And then you're like, man, I'm lost in this thrift store now because I've gone all over the place, but I
Right.
got
It's
all
like,
these treasures.
oh yeah, it's like when you look at it, it just has so much stuff going on. It just makes you think about all kinds of things and you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like well because we get our senses, we have our senses when we're born, of course. But do people really teach us how to use them? And so, when we're out there exposed to everything, something could, agitate your eyes. You're like, oh, something could agitate your nose, and you're like, oh, and that drives what
Yeah.
activities we do.
Right.
And so, if you don't know how to control that, then it could look like, I mean, that's how I would look if I were a charioteer and I had like five horses. I wouldn't know what to do with them at all. My poor passenger would be terrified. I would be terrified. I think
Those
the whole
horses
the
are pretty
horses.
strong too.
Exactly. They don't look like they're giving up at all. So, you know, how can you control that? And then all these senses, right, are what builds, intelligence. It's all what builds in intelligence. So, they drive your mind
Yeah.
to doing activities and, in our intelligence are, the ropes. So if we don't have, a good handle on that, then we could go anywhere. The horses could go anywhere. And
Mhm.
then we are stuck, you know, finding out what that destination is.
Right. It's interesting, that they use horses because horses are such a strong force. They're such a spirited energy and they're such a portal
Mhm.
to, and so it's like, of course, this horse, like, because it's just like they're such a deeply spirited animal and they have so
Mhm.
much power. Like,
They do. They do. And, to be able to even ride a horse takes a lot of strength and a lot of, skill. And
mhm.
so, even one, like I don't know how to ride a horse, so even one would be intimidating to me. But then your senses are as strong as horses and wild too. If you've
True.
ever, heard about anything related to a wild horse, there's no way that you can steer all of those things. That's how strong our senses are when it comes
Right.
to, and so I thought the same thing. I was like, I wonder why a horse, right? But you know, you can, make sure that the horses are doing what they're supposed to do, but it takes a lot of skill.
I watch all these feeds right now that are Reiki healers, and they use horses out in nature, and they
Mm,
use horses as another aspect to the healing. And the horses during the treatments especially there's two that I follow, but one that's like specific, and literally the horses are part of the session, and
Mm,
like they can like put their nose right on, like they're just so in tune with energy. And yeah, they say horses in particular are such a portal. But
absolutely.
yeah,
Very strong animal. That'd be interesting. Yeah, with these right here, I call myself all the time a wild horse because I just kind of like here and there. But yeah, the significance of the symbolism of horses are extremely important just because just one horse would be difficult. But we have five. We have five horses
hmm
that are leading us to wherever we're going, based off of, what agitates our senses. Um, and so our mind isn't trained enough to see, oh, this might be a good idea, this might not be a good idea. Or, some people steer really close to things that make them happy with, their taste, right? So the horses might steer closer this way, or just so many things out there. What was it? I keep referring to the movie Soul. And
Okay.
so when the souls came back down to earth, and that one soul went into I think he went into the man's body, Joe's body. He had no senses because he didn't have a body. And
Okay.
so Joe being from that body, when he goes back down to earth as a cat, but he goes back down to earth, he's like, okay, this is what it is. I'm just in a cat's body.
Oh,
But when the other soul went down to Earth and he went inside of Joe's body, all of his senses were extremely scary and he didn't know what to do. He freaked out. And so he's like running around and he's like, oh, what's this? He's like eating like things from that he found on the ground, like a sucker or something. So it's like that's the best way that I've seen it animated is that if you don't know how to control those and they just are there, just all the time agitating our senses,
yeah.
you kind of like
Yeah. And so, yeah, totally true. Makes sense. Hmm.
it can be, yeah. But for us, it's a slow, gradual process. I think, you're a child and you just kind of like you learn about them and you know.
Yeah. Always learning and being, yeah, 100% always learning, always learning.
Hmm.
Never stops.
I appreciate that about life. All
Me
right.
too. I agree.
So a couple of reflecting questions, or discussion points since it's just the two of us. So
Yeah.
no quizzes or anything. And so in the video, it explains about the interaction amongst the functions of the mind, which are mind, intelligence, and false ego. Um, do you remember anything within the video that spoke about the interactions between mind, intelligence, and false ego?
Honestly, I'm blanking a bit. Uh,
Yeah, no worries.
yeah.
And so
Mhm.
it's interesting because we have our five senses, our five knowledge acquiring senses that are the horses. And then you have the mind, which are the ropes that are controlling the horses, and the intelligence, which is the driver of the horses. And so the false ego, they didn't go so far into it, but if you look into the picture really quickly, I'll go
Yeah.
back. So this is who we are in this whole scheme of things. So
Right.
when we're looking at us as a whole body, so we're looking at a human being. A human being is this situation right here where our senses are controlling our mind,
Hmm.
and our mind is driven by what our senses are wanting to do. So we're always we're seeking something that makes us happy through our senses.
Like the pizza thing. I remember
Hmm.
in the video.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Yep.
when you see the pizza initially, it's almost like you can taste and because you remember the taste and then you see it and it's a visual and then you
Hmm.
want it, so you go get it. And
Yes. Yep.
yeah, yeah, it
Exactly.
makes
Is
sense.
exactly. And so that's how your senses drive your actions. So that was the perfect example. Like, you see something, then you're like, oh, the last time I had pizza, it was delicious. I want this
Right.
time, you know.
True.
And so then your intelligence will make you go and get that pizza. And so I mean that's a very good we do that every day basically. So in order for us to gain pleasure, if we don't understand how to meditate and control our mind, then our senses are always being irritated by a desire to do something. And that's what drives our intelligence to making choices or, acting basically. So,
Yeah.
and so that's what it is. So then, our mind right here is what's driven by our senses, and our intelligence, which is the charioteer here, is wildly compromised. And so because we're wanting to gratify our senses so much and we're not able to control this, by some of the ways that they listed it in the video, like fasting or meditating or yoga, breathing exercises. So if we're not able to control our mind, our intelligence is not able to make good decisions on how to or where to go and what to do. And so then, because of that, we forget who we are. We are just constantly, instead of internalizing and trying to understand who we are, we're just
Yeah.
gratifying our senses, which makes this, who is the real you, covered. So, what it does is it makes you not remember who you are. It gives you false ego. And so that's what that meant. And false ego means I am this body. And so when people only think that they are this body and that their lives are meant to only gratifying their senses, that's what happens. Those are the three things that are affected. It's the mind, which are controlled by the senses, the intelligence, and then that causes you to be covered and forget who you are, which is soul, not body.
And that's like the no control thing. I mean, it's right. So you're like, it's kind of like they say, gaining your spiritual intelligence is, being mindful of eating, being mindful of intake, being mindful of that place where it's driving you without you being conscious and without you
Mhm.
being present within that place of making a decision, but the decision of the true essence of what's really resonating deeply.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's in so many levels, right? So I'm speaking on a general level, but like look at a celebrity where they have all these facilities where their senses are gratified even to a more extreme than somebody who's like me, who's just a general citizen. So with that situation, it's even more extreme. And then instead of them being internalizing and understanding who they are, really, they're like, I am this person, and they glorify the name, fame. So that's the false ego part of it. They claim to be the body, and they're not really understanding that. So there's so many levels of how this could be how this can be seen, but in a general sense,
Yeah. Yeah. Hear that.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
So true. It's like I really think that even like say people, it would be a great course, even pay people for eating disorders or things where your cravings are so far ahead of yourself where you don't understand. And it's just about the consciousness of having control of yourself and the aspect of losing control, or that one part in the video where the sign, the homeless person laying down, and it was like, I used to be like you, or
mhm.
it was like, whoa, like even just the reflection of that to think about, even the sign, that individual, the reflection of the walker buyer, like, all of that, just like, okay,
Hmm.
I didn't,
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's so true. It's, and when you are able to control a lot of your senses, you start to see things like that because you're not really blinded by just gratifying your senses all the time. So it gives you a chance to look back and inside of yourself.
100%.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It's like, I think the more awareness, the more compassion you see too for everything that's taking place all around you.
Yeah, it kind of like you're waking up, right? So you're like the only way I can explain it is like seeing these gross examples, but like you're like so into eating something and you're like, you're like binging on something, and then you kind of snap out of it. You're like, what have I done? Because,
Or
um,
afterwards, the way you feel.
yep.
You feel
Hmm.
like crap. It's like even if you think, oh, it's going to be great, and then afterwards you're like,
Hmm.
you know,
Exactly.
I can't wait till this digests and goes away. Like,
Exactly. Exactly. And so that because that sense was so strong, your mind and your intelligence weren't able to prevent all the pain that happens with the indigestion and the nausea. You weren't able to actually think about that, and so you end up suffering more than you enjoy. And then,
totally.
and so it just causes all those problems. But exactly. So if you're able to understand, like, oh, yes, we should eat. Yes, we should eat food because one, we need it, right?
Sure.
That's what it's here for. But then also, in order to function, we need to have it. Your intelligence can make it so that you're not, oh, maybe I shouldn't have this because I have, you know, high blood pressure. Maybe I should do this instead. So your intelligence will be able to guide you in a way that's going to make a better situation than if you're just like, I'm all in. I want
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. And yeah, it makes totally just no control and just, I think there's a lot of, I mean, it's just my own personal observation, but I really believe there's a lot of people that just don't have awareness or even the education to be able to have that conscientious.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And I think some people
100%.
don't want to learn. Like they really don't. It's too hard for them. It's too much to even think about trying to change.
That's also a really good observation. And it's true, 100%, because what that means is if you're, what the video was talking about was it seems like austere to be able to be like, okay, yeah, maybe I should meditate. And then you're like, well, I'm bored. Maybe I want to watch TV or I want to do, so your senses, because you're wanting to, you're really just driven by your senses so much that anything that kind of puts you back doesn't seem very favorable to people who are driven by enjoying the senses. So it's
Hmm.
it's hard to step away from that sometimes,
Hmm.
because as the video says, you'll never be fully satisfied with sense enjoyments. You'll get some happiness from it, have no doubt, but you won't be fully satisfied with it. So you're always going to be wanting more and more, which is why like celebrities, they sing about it, they talk about it like I have everything, but there's still something missing.
Right.
That, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Or people who, I mean, everybody, there's a judgment, but it's like, it's like even like people who are transforming their bodies continuously. I mean,
mm-hmm,
to me, it's very like, it doesn't work for, it doesn't, I don't, it's not my world. And
mm-hmm.
I just, I feel like so much different, bigger than that. But at the same time, like many people who say, it is like the body is just a vessel, right? So you could transform the outside, doesn't mean that you're necessarily transforming the spirit. It's just like
Yep.
you're artistic with the clay model, but
Yeah. Yeah,
it is
exactly.
like, but it doesn't always, but everybody, it works differently for each
It's very
person.
true though. 100%. Like if you were thinking about like the horse, which sense do you think that exactly that example would be falling under? I know which one it would.
Um, uh, feel touch in a sense.
The
Hold
yeah, the yeah.
it.
The sense.
Sense, right?
Hmm.
Taste, smell, touch, uh, smell, smell,
The sight, I think.
sight. Oh yeah, sight,
Yeah,
vision.
because if they're transforming the body,
Oh,
then
yes,
they're looking at themselves and they're deriving pleasure, and then internally they think that other people are also going to be getting pleasure by looking at them as well, right? And so they're driven by that. And so
yeah.
it causes false ego, which is I am this body, instead of I am spirit soul.
You know, I have a really recent, super close old friend of mine just dealing with this week, and they resonate with being two spirit, native tribe, um, and they are transforming from male to female
Hmm.
and going through lots of surgeries.
Hmm.
And it's very interesting. It's very, I mean, I don't, it's not, it's very hard to see that person get so much just, you know, stuff done at
Hmm.
the same time, as long as you're happy and that was, that's what makes you happy. I'm happy for you. I don't, that's all that matters. It's like,
Yeah, it's true. 100%.
yeah, it's just,
And
but
I
it's
mean,
interesting.
it can be. I mean, people who do body modification, it can, you see it all the time. It can be addicting because what people do is they identify with the body, right? And so to identify with the body, you're wanting the body to be not only desirable to you, but a reflection of who you think you are. And so, I mean, a lot of, I mean, even if you look at I changed my hair,
Yeah,
and so
sure.
it's, what people do is, and that's how their senses are driving them. That's
Yeah,
what motivates them to do these things is because there is a desire that has caused them to put them in there, a
yeah,
desire and an identity that they feel, that makes them act in that way. And
yeah,
so, and that's, I mean, that's what everybody does. Everybody does that
yeah.
to their body. So it's either you see people who act on it, or you see people who are really miserable because their body isn't the way that they think that it should be because they're
Mhm.
identifying with the body.
True. Or you have people who just are who they are and they're like, this is just me.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And so, you see it everywhere. A lot of people, everybody's actions, especially if they're not practicing in some type of spiritual path or some way to calm their minds, they're acting based off of, how their senses are driving their minds and intelligence.
Yeah, insecurity.
Yeah, well, and then yeah, they're covered. So that's the false ego part. The false ego is I am this body and not I
Uh,
am spirit soul. So
sure.
like for the sake of the bhakti, like what I say when I so if I were to like pass away,
Yeah.
if they were to find where I was or whatever, they won't say I found Bree. They won't be like, oh, I found Bree. They'll say I found Bree's body, which insinuates that I've gone somewhere else. And
That makes sense
so
to me, 100%. I mean, that totally resonates with my understanding. I mean,
yeah.
I agree. I've earlier today I was having a conversation with a friend, and the same, they're helping somebody right now go through hospice, and I was saying that. throughout my whole life, for all the people who I've stood by who've died in front of me, it is a
Hmm.
very, to see the body pass away and the spirit move on to another place is a very interesting place. And I always have a hard time being emotional with death because I always feel like the spirit is continuing on. It's living on. It's still here. It's still rising up while the body may die. It's just the vessel.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and you miss the presence of the soul that was inhabiting the body. So, you know what
Of
I
course.
mean? Absolutely. It's hard. It's a very interesting and very complex science, really, because depending on, what you're wanting will help you, understand that, or help you help engage your senses more to make yourself happy in that way. But yeah, I mean, I think that's where most of this video really helps was without being being able to understand how to, then you can't know who you are.
Mm.
In But you can always be on the path of self realization and self discovery, and everybody is.
Yeah.
There's no exemption for that. So everybody will find out who they are in their lives,
Yeah.
because that's just what it is about. But the levels of or the degrees of how much you want to know about that will be based on how, you're controlling your mind and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
everybody will find out that there's no exceptions. Everybody will.
Yeah. Yeah. True. It may happen differently, but yes.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So, let's see. In your opinion, why is it essential to control your mind? And then what could be the consequences of an uncontrolled mind on the self and on the society? And then I'll even add on, do you think it's essential to control the mind? Because right here it says, why is it essential? Well, some people might not think it is essential, you know?
Hmm. I definitely think it's essential just in terms of, I mean, your mind can take you all kinds of places and you can let it go down winding holes and here and there, and you can create so many different dimensions that aren't necessarily reality or the present. They're just the mind,
Mm,
and it'll keep trailing. And I think it's really important to have control in bringing that control into many aspects of your life. I mean, it can go for so many, it can go for all your senses. It can go for all your, yeah. Uh,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, your thoughts. Prior to the class, I remember saying, it could keep you in the past, it keep you a prisoner of the past things that happen, or it could keep you prisoner in worrying about the future and rob you of living presently, which is like 100% like the worst thing. So that's like the worst enemy aspect of your mind. Really, it could convince you of everything, right?
mhm.
The mind convinces you of anything. So some people,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You said the same thing.
sure
Some
does.
people, it can convince you of anything. Even that it's your intelligence is like this isn't a good idea. Like somebody who's drinking and driving, like your intelligence will say this is not a good idea. You should not drive, and your mind will convince you like you didn't have that much. It's not that bad.
Right.
And
Or
so,
road rage. Same. Yeah.
well, yeah,
Like you yell at somebody, the repercussion of, or totally using your phone while driving, knowing you should, all these things
yep,
that we've all been guilty of at times,
yeah,
I mean, it's not like,
yeah,
but
exactly.
um, it's all a learning. I've noticed more and more as working towards consciousness as best as I can. I mean, still, I catch myself at times, that I'm like, don't do that, like,
Yeah, absolutely.
or you
Yeah.
like feel, and you're like, no, it's not worth it. Don't just doesn't even matter. And then literally to ground your thought and move forward in a different direction, and just to be conscious in that place. But poof, it's been
Oh, it's not easy. I mean, I know many a days I'm like, I failed that test.
Yeah.
I feel I
Okay.
failed it. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try again though. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, some of the examples they were talking about were like war or, just travesty, but that's the consequences of an uncontrolled mind. And what that does is it puts people in there were two categories that they were talking about. There was selfless and selfish. And
Mm.
so when you have an uncontrolled mind and then you put a whole bunch of uncontrolled minds in, together, then a lot of people start acting selfishly. Not everybody, but a lot of people start acting selfishly, and you end up getting things like conflicts that could be war, or you can get things of cheating and disproportionate resources. And just to be completely frank, because you have an uncontrolled mind, and the lesson should show you, like, if you have an uncontrolled mind, it causes you to have false ego.
Mm.
And so because you have false ego and yourself, you're really covered because you're controlled by your senses. You don't appreciate the other souls that are around you, and you don't consider them. Some people even, they don't have any value of them, because they don't know who they are, so they don't know who you are. And so they don't put any value, which causes so much damage.
So much damage.
Hmm.
Truly. Truly, that's a huge one.
Yeah. And so,
Super big one. I mean, honestly, people who are on, they're falsely, they're not even aware and they can hurt so many people in that place. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And it happens all the time,
Yeah.
and when unfortunately, sometimes you do so much, you get yourself in trouble, and then you get taken away to like jail or prison. Some people, not all, but some people who, you know, are genuine, they will reflect, and they don't have the things that they had to enjoy their senses anymore. So they have to go in, and then they could be like, I wasn't doing this, and I did all these things because I didn't value this. And you know that's when you don't have all of those things that gratify your senses all the time, which is why they're like, you should control these things, not take it
Mhm.
away completely, because you can't, but you should control, because if you are doing so much gratification, you forget yourself. And then by forgetting yourself, that causes damage to not only you, it causes most damage to yourself, but then it could cause damage to our fellow living entities. And so, but not, I mean, I think that's the biggest consequence, is that it hurts you so much already, because you don't know the consequences of the actions that you're doing, but then also we're hurting other living entities, and everybody's doing it because, everybody's
Right.
trying to be happy, find happiness in a way. With these controlled horses, they just don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Hmm.
It is, yeah. But then there are people who have control over their mind in the society as well. It's not that everybody
Right.
is completely uncontrolled. There are people who can control their minds, and they're also in society, right?
Absolutely.
And then more so than if they have the understanding of how to control their mind, then they probably see a lot more clearly as to what's happening. They don't get mad at people because they already understand what's happening to, oh, these people are controlled by their senses. This is what it is. And they don't even know.
Hmm.
So maybe there's some more compassion when it comes to people who have more control over their senses. They understand a little bit more about the
Yeah.
situation.
Hmm.
They don't fight
Makes sense.
anger with anger.
No. Then you get raging fire.
Yeah, oil and fire.
Yeah. Explosion.
I know, that'd be so bad.
Yeah, I know.
Um, so what are different ways to control the mind? What method appeals to you the most? There were so many different ways that they explained.
Hmm. Um, I mean, for me, it's continually checking in with myself and
Hmm.
just kind of, it's almost like an awareness of just asking myself, what I, is this what is the resonance for me? Is this making, I think years ago it started when sometimes when you get anxiety, I used to deal with a lot of anxiety. And I think that anytime, like even when you go to text message or like a message or communicate with anybody, I would get an anxiety and say you still continue with the message and you press send or and then you're going against, you're not really listening to yourself. You're going against it. And and then you would suffer for it because
Hmm.
you went against it. And I think that was an initial lesson for years that had taught me that anytime I feel a discomfort or a place that's uncertain, or I step back, or even food, how is it going to feel? Is this going to affect me? Is this going to cause inflammation? Is this going to, because I have to be so
Hmm.
sensitive for myself, or is this something I want to intake or whatever? All those things is just it's a continual checking in. It's like muscle testing, but asking yourself, like,
Hmm. Yeah, like internal audits of, you know, or like I hate to be this way, but like when you're in the army and they like you have to check all these things before it's like, okay, this is good. We could
yeah,
go out like that.
yeah, kind of like that. For me, that's definitely, and then breathing and grounding in order to, if I'm so sensitive, so when I get uncomfortable, I need that downtime so I can take the time to understand where I'm at in order to be that place to reflect that conscious place. Otherwise, it just feels like chaos, you know?
I remember you saying grounding. I was going to ask you about that because you're concentrating on something and it calms everything down, right? Is that one of the best effective ways? Do you put breathing and grounding in the same category, or is there two specific separate things?
I think breathing and meditation equal grounding. And then,
Okay.
like, even last night, I had come home and I was like really ready to come home. Like, I was out and
Mhm.
I wasn't driving. So it's like I was really needed to decompress. I had a lot of energy going on. And it's like once I came, it's like I needed to do a meditation session. And it helps so much just to be like, okay, here I am again. It's like that's
Yeah.
really, and then it's like to get back on track. Sometimes you get taken into the chaotic world or an energetic place, which it can be amazing and it can be fun and you can enjoy it. But when you need to come back to center, to a place that's steady for yourself, or whatever works for each person, or whatever is like, that's your downtime. That's your place that I like can reconnect. And is this what is best for me? Is this what
Yeah,
feels good?
absolutely.
So
Yeah. That's,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I know breathing helps really help regulate, a lot of the energy that you get. You can expel a lot of energy by breathing exercises. And I know grounding helps absorb whatever you're expelling. So, and then also receiving a lot of, what you're needing as well.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
definitely.
that's true too.
Hmm.
Receiving what you're needing. Yeah, we
Hmm.
do need things sometimes, to make us feel all right, or to be
Yeah,
okay, and that's okay too. Those are all good things.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I do meditation.
Yeah,
And if I don't, it's a bad day. It's a bad day. And so,
yeah,
like sometimes, oh, I've been practicing this for about 4 years now. So usually, a lot of the time, the practitioners are like, oh, they try to do it early in the morning. And it's based off of how you can do it. So for me, my life is so chaotic. I have to get my child up and I have all these things. And so, I spread mine throughout the day. But
yeah,
if I don't do some in the morning, if I don't do something, some small little thing, I won't realize it when I'm missing it, but then I could see like I'm at work and I just find myself irritated. I'm just irritated. And I'm like, why am I irritated? Like
yeah,
nothing. So, but then I'm thinking like I did not. I did not chant today. This is why I'm
Yeah.
feeling this way. And so,
You didn't take time for yourself, and that's
mhm.
really what it comes down to is that you didn't prioritize what you needed for you to be okay. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's really what
Absolutely.
the reality is, right? That you're like, I
Hmm.
just need some time for me. And that's part of our society, like we are talking about earlier. It's very hard to take care of ourselves in this world right now and in the society that I just there's a lack of community, a lot depending on there's a lack of, because people are just so spread out so thinly that nobody has the time or the capacity to intake, a place to take care of themselves. And any time they do get, they just want to rest because they're
Yeah,
so tired. So
very true. 100%. 100%, And, I want to be optimistic and thinking it's going to get better. It will, I think for an individual, because every individual has to have their own journey in life to
sure.
find themselves. Um, so I think individually, you'll walk that path where you'll have no other choice but to find yourself. But I think as a society, it's at least in my non, well, my insignificant opinion, it helps people find ways to gratify their senses even more. That's
Mhm.
how I see it sometimes. So, if I'm looking at an ad, some of these ads are about like, you should have this because this is the best food in the world, or you should, aspire for this because you'll be happy by having all these things. So it's, the way I see it, people are working so hard towards those things and
Yeah.
not for themselves.
Yeah.
Even though those things are for themselves, it's very strange.
It's even like say I look at a lot of people, people who have families and multiple children or what, and they have a mortgage payment, they have all these excess huge overheads, and it's like they're running every day just to get by, even though it's month, it's just like gotta meet the quota, gotta meet the quota, gotta meet, gotta, and it's like, oh, it's just
Yep.
so, it's like it's like, oh, this is a 30-year mortgage. It's like, really? Does it, it's like, it doesn't like you, there's no break. It's like,
Yep.
it's like it just keeps going.
Exactly. Hmm.
I mean,
It's
you
true.
know, I don't have children, and because of that, I'm a free person, and I don't had a dog for 13 years, and he's passed now. So it's like, I really feel I'm trying to travel because I feel like I have the ability at this time, but it's like, I really feel that I've been so confused here for such a long time of like, dealing with whatever we all deal with, whatever elements
Of
we deal
course.
with, but it's like, whew, like you literally are supposed to run all day long.
Oh, yeah. It's true because, with your example especially, how are you going to enjoy your senses if you don't have all these nice things? That's what drives people's activities. And you know, that's what constitutes, all these scenarios that happen. But there are people who have lived so long, in so many lives where they do that all the time. They're just driven to enjoying those things that they become, I call it a term of material fatigue. They
Hmm.
become fatigued of having to do that, and then they start asking, why, why
Yeah,
do I have to do that?
yeah,
And is this something that I really want? And they become, and it doesn't have to be 100% disgusted, but they become disgusted with that thought of lifestyle.
yeah,
And that's usually when your spiritual life begins, because in order to have material things to a point where you're just driven by having those things, and you just forget yourself because you're driven to enjoying that way. So if you're wanting to enjoy, then you forget who you are. You just do the actions, and then, you know, and you'll just continue to do that until you become fatigued. But then the people who've done that so long, it could be like hundreds of lives that they've
Yeah.
just done all these things, then you'll find yourself being more spiritually inclined or, energetically sensitive than other people. You'll find yourself feeling just like not interested in doing what you see a lot of other people doing because it doesn't derive happiness like it does for some people. Like some people, they derive happiness by working a very long amount of shifts to get a whole bunch of
Yeah.
power so I can have and some people are like, yes, this
Yeah.
is how, but that could be their goal, you know, which
Yeah.
is nothing I'm nothing to say negative about, but usually other people would be like, oh gosh, is that really what I need? This doesn't define me, or stuff like that. So
Or you obtain everything that you need, and then you're like, now what?
yeah, exactly,
I'm
exactly.
like, oh, okay. I mean, it's me against me. Now what? Okay. Have all this cool, it's like, I'm not, it's like some people are more community, like they more social, but
Mhm.
when you're a very not social person, then you have everything around and you're like, but now what? I'm
Yep.
here to entertain myself by myself in a box all the time. There's got to be more than that, you know? And
Hmm.
it's like an
Exactly.
exploration because you realize that material things, it's nice to have a landing pad and a great place and comfort zone. But I could step out and be exposed to the elements and travel in a place where I'm engaging with freedom and
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
being, and it's not about cleaning or what my tasks are every day, or it's about being at one with wherever you are
Hmm.
and just
Yeah.
embracing that. And whether it's in the jungle, it's in survival mode, it's like, it doesn't like
Yeah.
eating fruit off trees, off, sleeping in a little hut or whatever it is, it doesn't, it's just that it's being in a truthful place of what a new resonance of a freedom of difference, of just a new place.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, it's it's not the things, it's the experiences, you know what I mean? Like the genuine present experiences that you have that you have to go through in a way to understand yourself more, because being in experiences and, doing things that, bring derive some pleasure or
Yeah.
something, um, it causes you to feel more confident in yourself a little bit more. Like, this is who
Mm.
I am, not these
Yeah,
things are who I am. And
right.
so, mhm.
That for
Yeah,
sure.
it's true. I mean, this is, so many people, because everybody's story is 100% different. There's never a story that's ever the same. But so
Yeah.
many people, they go about, and they try to find so many things that they haven't experienced before, or things that not a lot of people would even know. Like, gosh, in some of the shastras that we have people who are like mystic yogis. I don't know anybody in my circle of friends outside of the people that I hang out with at Bhakti Studio who know anything about mystic yogis. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But they exist. They're there, So it's like,
Absolutely.
what is life? What is life?
It's
And what,
everything.
yeah, exactly. There's so many things, right?
It
So
is
many things.
really, it is beautiful to be in such a wonderful community that does understand that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Um,
refreshing for sure.
Yeah,
It's a lot less boring.
I agree. Well, it actually feels like you connect in a more
Yeah.
in a more meaningful aspect of life, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
I think so. I definitely think so. Especially if somebody sees you on a level of you're not your body, but like who you really are, then like, wow, I feel seen. That's usually when
Totally.
people feel seen.
Absolutely. And acknowledged and
Mhm.
inquisitive of like actually curious to understand you or want to know, and
Yeah,
vice versa, it's beautiful.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
And
Good.
so, let me see. I know I'm over time. Forgive me.
Ah,
Um,
it's okay.
8:16. There's one more. It says, "What does stress mean to you? And then how can we befriend our mind to live a happy life?"
Mm. I think stress for me is pressure.
Mm,
I'll get to a place where I feel like I have all these tasks
mm-hmm.
that I really see fit that need to be done in a certain frame. And even though I'm mindful at every moment I'm doing them, it's just the continual pressure to complete. And by the
Yeah.
time, and then getting at the end, I feel so tired that I just can't wait to like rest. And it's like,
No, that's real. I definitely. So, so because for me, unfortunately, that's how I was raised. I was raised to deal with an immense amount of pressure all the time. And so it's normal. I'm just like,
yeah,
but so it's not, it's not healthy, one, but then what I've seen, what made me me when having to undergo that is that, I started wondering really, would I be, satisfied or I've always had this saying in the back of my head, even when I was a child, like this is going to be your best life. And so I would always wonder to myself, like, is this what's going to cause me to have my best life? And I would deviate from the norm. And so I think what stress means to me, well, real stress would mean to me that I'm not practicing, which means I'm doing I don't know what I'm doing at that point. So I'd probably be a mess because I'm whatever priorities I would have, if I'm not able to practice my meditation, then my real work is not being done.
yeah,
And so for me, to be happy, I stay with my regimen of meditation at a minimum. And that's how I can befriend my mind because it draws me back to my purpose, which is really, I'm spirit soul. I'm not this body. So, and it sounds very cliche, I know, but like it drives me to remember like I'm a spirit soul, I'm not body. So these things that are happening around me, although I could be feeling a lot of feelings towards those things, in a present moment, these things are not permanent. They don't define me. And they're ever changing all the time. And so I can't put myself in the realm of, being sucked into that all the time. And
yeah,
so, so if I don't do that, if I don't do my meditation, I will end up getting sucked into it because my job is nothing but pressure, and then, and I am a mom and then I have a whole bunch of responsibilities. So there's a lot of things that, for me specifically, I have on my shoulder.
yeah,
And I'm hard on myself naturally because of those things that are on me. And so if I don't meditate and remember, like, this is the reality of it, then I could see myself getting so engaged and engulfed in all these things that I need to do that I completely just ignore, my needs. Like, and I started thinking like, oh, why is this happening? And then I become stressed. So stress means exactly what we were talking about at the beginning, not giving myself time,
yeah,
to ground myself and remember what this is all for. And I've thankfully I've been very, very blessed to be able to do that. But I'm going back to the days that, like, I didn't meditate. Like, early or something, and then I'm going through all these things, and I'm like, this is why I'm acting this way. It's because I didn't meditate. I didn't have time to like, so
Ground yourself. Yeah,
yeah.
I feel that. Hmm.
But stress is, I mean, stress is hard, and there's so many things about, just everyday life. I, in my other classes, I'm always telling people like, you are always going to be engaged in something in your everyday life. You can't avoid it. If you're not engaged in something, that means that you're like really sick and you're lying down and you're just, so anytime that you're alive and awake, you're engaged in something. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch of things, but you're engaged in something. And
Yeah,
so we're always engaged in something. And the best thing that I can do is to find ways to apply my practices to my everyday life so that when I am engaged in those things, I'm engaged for the purpose that I'm supposed to be engaged for and not for, my own sense gratification, which will cause me to just, you know, trouble goes in there. If I'm just doing things for my own sense gratification, if I'm doing things for like glory or, honor or, admiration, like these things cause, and if you don't get that, then all these problems start happening. So if I ground
yeah,
myself and
yeah.
understand, yeah, it's
I know.
crazy.
Yeah, stress can be a lot. And
It can,
it does it can be very it can make us very unwell.
it can.
Yeah.
I think it attacks your body in a physical way at the end. Right. So
Mhm.
I feel, well, and I don't know how everybody else is, but like I feel like behavioral wise, we feel bad. And then one
Yeah.
day it's like, boom, you're sick.
Yeah. Or
And
you all of a sudden, or you're dealing with stuff and you just pretend that it doesn't exist because you're just, people don't listen to that place and sometimes people don't know what to do about it. They
mm-hmm,
even they just they don't know how to take care of themselves in that place because they feel that they have to prioritize responsibility. And so it's just
100%. That's
yeah.
very true. So the moral of the story for this would be, um, especially on our daily practices. Ooh, I want to make sure that I have. The moral of the story would be that, practicing something that will allow you to befriend your mind can
Yeah.
cause so much benefit in life. And as we saw in the video, there's so many ways to do that.
Yeah.
So I think, if even children were given that in school, then I don't think that we would have as many issues that we have, because people would understand like we have to we have to engage our minds in good ways so that we can, you know, make better decisions, feel better, be happier, aspire for things that are more than just, these gross materialistic things that, you think make you happy, but then cause attachments and, so
Yeah.
befriending our mind or, knowing that it could be
Befriending our mind. Indeed.
the best.
Friend.
It's better to have it as a friend than an enemy.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'm grateful that, I mean, everybody has a different struggle, so you never know what goes on in each person's mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
But any questions or anything, realizations, points of clarity that you would like? Anything that you need?
I don't think so. I think it's been really thorough. Yeah.
Try to do my best. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Well, it was always nice. It was good to have a one-on-one, so then at
Yeah.
least you have that, and then that'll be really fun. So, the next few topics are just a build-up of all the other things. So It's a lot of good knowledge. But don't feel shy. Always reach out. Like I said, Bradley's really good at hosting these, and so he's always happy to help. And if you want, you can reach out to me as well. Always happy to help.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been great. Missed you last week in class.
I know, I know, I know. I was trying. I'm like, Bradley, it's yours.
It-
But
it-
I might drop by a couple of times. But
yeah, it's always great. It's just
just
good interaction too. Just great presence. So, mhm. Yeah,
absolutely, it's always nice to see you. I'm sure that I'll see you in Mantra House.
yeah.
Probably not this week if you go, but like sometime soon. So,
Okay, that's
all
great.
right.
Well, take care of
Perfect.
yourself.
You as well. Nice to
Yeah.
see you as always.
Nice to see you too. Until next time.
Yes. See ya.
Okay. Bye, Bree.
Bye.